Hey, hang on a second, actually. He said it's not dark enough? This guy is so dramatic. Can someone hit the lights, please?
I'm Batman.
So is this dark enough for you? Also, if you want any appetizers, they're right over there. Green Arrow brought something. Superman brought something. The Weasel brought something. Yet, looks like he didn't bring anything.
My bad. I'm gonna go to the store and get some cheese and crackers.
So how do you enter a room dramatically like Batman? So recently I did a video, how to create the infinite black background. Somebody commented, whoa, I love how dramatically you enter that room. How do I do something like that? So a lot of those same fundamentals from that video do apply here. And that's why originally I was thinking, well, I should just leave a comment on how to do it. But then I thought of that genius opening with Batman. I thought, I can't take that kind of comedy from the world. And so here we are. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link of it in the description below. Otherwise, I'm going to do a quick little recap right here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find your location. You want to be in a room that has as little lighting as possible, preferably no windows or at least a little amount of windows. That way you can black those out easier. Then you'll want to get a black backdrop, something you can get off Amazon, B&H. You actually don't need that. You can get black sheet, black curtain, black paper, black cloth, anything that works that kind of helps create that illusion. Now, if you don't have any of that stuff, as long as you're in a big enough room that you can get as far from the backdrop as possible, that will help as well. So once you have your setting, location, you have your backdrop, next you're going to want to go ahead and get your lighting set up. So like I said, you're going to want to set yourself up to make sure that you are about, at least for me, what I did was I was about 7 to 10 feet away from my back wall. With that, I grabbed a panel light, put it on a C-stand with an arm above my head. The reason why was I wanted that lighting above the head of Batman coming down to kind of have that very dramatic type look. Now, this light worked out really well. The only issue was I didn't have any barn doors on. And so the barn doors help with the spill of light traveling in any kind of direction, left, right, up, down, wherever. So since I didn't have that, I just went to the dollar store, grabbed some black construction paper, cut it to the size that worked best for the situation, and taped it on. Now, the reason why I want to do this was because without the barn doors, Batman kind of comes in and you can see him a little bit earlier. It's not as, ooh. It just kind of helps with the reveal of coming up to who he is. And also it helps with that spill that we want to avoid on the background. Now, this lighting setup works perfectly. You can do this and you're good to go. But if you wanted a little bit more of a key light on your subject, you'll need a secondary light. So what I grabbed was I grabbed my Godox light with my aperture dome and an egg crate. Now the egg crate helps with throwing the distance of light. That way the light doesn't travel as far to the background. So in this situation, I wanted to keep that light as close to where Batman was going to finish his walk as possible, because then that way I would be able to keep the intensity and brightness down as low as possible to help with that spill. If you didn't have an egg crate for the situation, what could you do? Well, let's say you have another panel light. What you're going to do is put on a light stand, but get that light stand higher than your subject. So if it's straight on, that light's going to hit you and travel behind you and hit that background. So what you want to do is get that light higher and tilt it down. That way the light is hitting at that exact point where you're going to be in, and it will still have that reveal walking in, as well as it's going to be hitting the ground a little bit more. Now, if you're doing like a super wide shot, that may break that illusion. But if you're doing more a medium or close up, kind of like what we're doing right here, that's going to work perfect. So once you got that filmed, you'll then go ahead and go into your editing software of choice, Adobe Premiere for me. Bring in your footage. I shot in Vlog, so I'm going to convert it to Rec 709. Then you will open your Lumetri Color tab, and you'll be able to make any of those fine-tune adjustments. So if the background doesn't seem like it's as dark as you want it to be, or you're seeing your subject a little earlier, you can go to that tab and you can push down your blacks and your shadows to help create that illusion a little bit more. Now, you don't want to push them so far to the point where you're getting banding and the image is starting to break, because it's going to look not great. So you'll want to push to a point and keep an eye on your final image. If for some reason you're still seeing Batman a little bit earlier or yourself a little earlier than you want, what you can do is you can create a shape layer, black, make sure it fills the full screen, and set the opacity, a keyframe at the beginning before you start walking, to about 80 to 100%. Then when you get to your final destination, set a second keyframe for 0%, and that should work as your transition to kind of help with the flow of your reveal. Once you're done, go ahead and hit render, and you're all set to go. You have now entered a room dramatically like Batman. So if you have any comments, questions, leave them down below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. See ya.